All right, we recording? All right, fantastic. All right, here we go. Part two. Now to recap a little bit what I talked about last video with the 5 stages of human relations. I probably should have titled that a lot better, but it is what it is. Assessment, annoyance, anger, and acceptance. And of course the fabled apex. Tough to get there, but hey, you got to go through. You don't want to. Anyways, you can watch the video. Tell me what you think. But here we are. Part two on human relations. One of the big questions that I've always had was, what was Earth's first language? Who the heck knows, right? We had so many, there's hundreds and hundreds of languages, even a few languages we don't even know about yet. So what was our first? Now, I mentioned in the previous, I'm going to talk about ancient times. We're not talking about the Romans or before that, well before that. I'm talking Ice Age. So what civilizations occurred? What cities? Forget the civilizations. What cities occurred during the Ice Age? One is Babylon, Babylonia. It's in the Bible. It's probably the only truly referenced civilization right now. We're still discovering others like Göbekli Tepe, even a place in Indonesia called Gunung Panang. Epic. We got to learn about these, and we're slowly learning more about these. But did they have the same language? Indonesia versus Turkey. Now, in the Book of Giants, we can't really call it books. It was the Dead Sea Scrolls that were discovered in 1947 off the coast of, well, the Dead Sea, hence its name. Discovered texts, and it's amazing, freaking wow type text. It's like Book of Enoch is in there. There's even the Copper Scroll, a few treasure maps that, well, nobody's ever found any treasures from yet, because the Earth has changed so much, even in the last 60 years, 70 years now. So, of course, when they wrote it, it was thousands of years earlier. But we're talking about the first language. Now, that was mostly written in Aramaic, so that predates it well after the Ice Age. At least it was first translated into Aramaic. I have to stand corrected here. I don't want to give out wrong information. So it was first translated into Aramaic, and then obviously other languages followed. But what was the first language? Now, we're talking, you look in the Book of Giants, it talks about Nephilim. And even the Bible talks about Nephilim, which is the giants. Enoch talks about them. They're written all throughout the scrolls. Talk about these gigantic humanoids. Now, when they go to build something, because it's saying Nephilim and the Babylonian tower, like it was already been built. So you've got these giants. Now, you know they're not going to carry small rocks. They're huge. So you look at these gigantic rocks across the globe. Giant. Large individual humanoid beings, lack of a better word, is what transported them and put them in their place so that we can build. Now, the purpose of, when I first heard the story of the Tower of Babylon, I immediately thought back on, it's called the Just So Stories. It was back when I was younger, 1902, obviously intended for kids. It talks about how an elephant got its long trunk, how the cheetah got its spots. Fun stories. I think the elephant got into a fight with his nose with an alligator. Now, we know this didn't happen, but it's a fun story for kids to read. Yeah, so when I first heard the story about the Tower of Babylon, how God went poof, you have different languages, spread them all across the globe. Sounds too much like one of those stories. How the camel got his hump, how the humans got different languages. Falls right into the same shebang. So you got to look at it's just one of those weird stories of explaining something that really didn't need explaining. Maybe someday, but right now, nobody really cares how we all do. We said we chalk it up as evolution. You take a isolated group of people, and yes, it has been proven they will develop their own language. Australia was repopulated, heavily populated by the English. And you can tell an Australian language is different from an English language. They're different. Slang, verbiage, the way things are said, even words that they use in Australia that they don't use in England. So this is true. This is a fact. Now, obviously, language of the Middle East is way different. I mean, mutated differently than Chinese or tell me I should have more notes. I don't have any notes. Anyways, different languages. But here's the stories. I don't want this to go on too long, but we're talking about the human first language. What was it? Now you look at when you travel to another country. I want to hear it because, like I said, I've been all over the world. I've heard the first language in every country I've ever been to. When you go to a country, you learn that language. What are some of the first words you learn? No. Yes. Mom and dad, sure. Stop. Excuse me. Please. These are all the first words you learn. They're survival words. So when you go to another country, you can start saying this. Say you're in Japan, it's like sumimasen, or excuse me. All right, gomenasai. I apologize. My bad. I'm sorry. Or es tut mir leid if you're German. I apologize. I'm sorry. These are different languages. You go. These are the first things that you learn. It's survival. Now, you take a child, infant, let's say 6 months old, lack of a better number, 6 months. Give me a 6-month-old from Omdurman, Sudan, Cairo, Egypt, Stalingrad, Sasebo, Japan. You give me all these infants, 6 months, put them together. They will communicate. You won't understand what they say. Raise your hand. Let me hear a comment or tell me a story where you've heard two babies literally talking to each other. You've seen the videos, and clearly they understand each other. You don't. We've referred to the term, it's called Babel, in honor of Babylon. But you look at that language, they're talking to each other. You have no idea. They have no idea what. You want to think they have no idea what they're talking about, but clearly they understand each other. It's hysterical. It's funny. It's awesome. I was at a tram station, and I won't say which country. I'm not a. But I was at a tram station, and I overheard a child. I hate to say it, but babbling, and I thought it was my own little one. I turned. I was like, "Whoa, wait!" I looked, clearly not my offspring. I want to hear if that's happened to you. It usually happens to the moms because they're more in tune with natural instincts. But if you heard a child and you turned because you really thought it was yours, you may absolutely know your child is at home with the babysitter or with the husband, or same difference. Just kidding. Just kidding, dads. Yet you turn and look. I remember as a child, a funny joke, I always wanted to yell. I never did, but I always wanted to go into again, or shopping mall area, just yell, "Mom," and see how many women turn around. But no, we're talking about the first language. And I'm telling you, what are the first few words that babies learn, whatever country they're in? No. Yes. Please. Mom? Dad? So, Babel, lack of a better name for it because of the Tower of Babel and the Genesis and the Nephilim building that. That is, in essence, the first language. I would be extremely curious to see the end result. If you take a child from Kota Kambala or Paris or Mexico City and put them together in a room where nannies who do not talk raise them, what will their language be? I'm telling you right now, that will be the rebirth of this planet's first language. Babel. Maybe we'll come up with something different. Maybe we'll find out what they want to call it if this ever happens. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, first language. I don't want to go into more depth. We are going to talk about the giants at a later story. We're going to talk about some of these other locations that I briefly mentioned, civilizations that occurred during the Ice Age before. Did they disappear after the Ice Age melted? What caused the Ice Age? All kinds of stuff we're going to talk about here in upcoming videos. And we're going to take it and we're going to look at the science portion. We're going to look at the logical portion. And we're going to take humanity out of it. Because we all know when humans tell stories, they change things, they modify things. We've all heard this fun project with the phone. Hey, I hear a story, I'm going to go tell a story. Well, I'm going to try to repeat it. It's going to be different. It's called the phone game. So many of us did it when we were young at the campfires. But you know, you got to go out and understand this thing here. You got to take humanity out. Humanity changes everything. So let's look at logical. Let's look at science fact. What's out there? And let's figure this out together. All right. So what was humans' first language? Babel. So when you hear your kids jammering, try to understand them. Don't try to change their language, even though you're going to, because they have to. They have to learn the new language. But that's it. Babel. So until next time, this is One Crow Short, drinking with an MO.